ESSB. My name's Larry, and my call sign is Kilo 7 until November. Take 2 with no checking account info. Welcome back to the shack. It's Ham Radio Live. Please subscribe. We don't monetize. No commercials here from beginning to end. Helps you listen to it in your pocket, in your purse, maybe your nurse. I don't care, but you can listen to it without a single interruption. That's what makes it nice. We just ask that you subscribe so people that have an interest in ham radio can find the channel. That's all we ask for. So we want to thank you so very much for coming to the show. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the channel. Appreciate you very much being here. It is a joy and a privilege to have you here today. Thank you. No, there are some things Larry does during the show, but nothing like showing a picture of his checking account. No. Here's what happened. We had the security deposit for a condo in Maui, right? Okay. Yeah, Greg, exactly. Take 2. Yep. Kilo Fox 0, Charlie Union Zulu. Okay. So we had our security deposit, and I had to find out, okay, how much has been repaid of this? Because they haven't paid all. It's like $275 still not paid. And when you're losing $275, you're saying to yourself, hey, hold on a second. There's some money left. I need that back. So, there you go. And then it shows up on YouTube.
No! No.
There's some things I like you guys and stuff, but I'm not just going to, can't go that far. So here we go. All right. We're going to really quickly show you again the antenna problem I had and why we're late today. This is why I was back in the backyard and why I wasn't here earlier. Had an antenna issue due to the ice storm we had back in February, and it gave me a problem. The DX Commander all-band vertical thankfully didn't snap or break. We did lose another antenna in the storm, and a dipole of mine broke as well. So it was a bad storm. We had problems everywhere from it. But here is my conundrum. 40 meters. Can't lose that. That's a staple of ham radio. Let me show you the first part. Okay, there's my DX Commander all-band vertical. The radials are fixed except for one from the ice storm. It is the 40 meter radial. So I'm going to go over how I'm replacing it, and it's just from stress from all the ice. The damage from the ice has caused us to mess up. So let me get to the quick SWR reading on 40 and show you what it looks like now. Okay, so when I did that, the SWR for 40 meters was 19.86. I never said that in the first cut. 19.86 was the SWR, which is really, it's crazy too much, way too much. It wasn't even close to working. So that meant new antenna element needed to be cut. Again, in the US, it's simple. If you're used to using a G5RV or a ZS6 BKW or any multi-band dipole, end fed, it could be an off-center fed, could be a center fed, which also knows a doublet, same thing. You just learn theory. Learn to make your vertical. It'll blow your mind because all of a sudden you have a resonant antenna with, and the best part here, okay, with no antenna tuner even needed. No, you don't need to go out and spend $600-700 for one because you got a resonant antenna. Now it's nice to have antenna tuners to protect your amplifier coming back, but most solid state amps have a kickoff switch that will knock it off if you get too much SWR coming back down the wire, down the coax, down the feed line. Okay, get it? So that's the way that works. Now, in my case, I had to rebuild 40. It was totally unusable. So we rebuilt it, cut my ground radio. I cut it to 32 feet, 8 inches. That's the number I used, 32 feet, 8 inches. And there's a reason I went a little long on it. I took the last 1.5 inches and I folded it over. That's what you do to hold the antenna element up at the top of any vertical antenna because you need a place to hold the top of the antenna so the antenna will stay up high, right? So if you cut about 1 inch, 1.5 inches, and you not cut, but you bend, you zip tie it together, or you can even shrink wrap it together, which is even better, you'll have a very good antenna that'll last you a long time. Let me show you what happened after I did that, okay? This is my results after we got everything all hooked up and the antenna brought back down, and then we got the antenna to be looked at by the antenna analyzer, okay? All right, first sweep with the new element up there. Sorry for the shakiness here, but, 2 hands, not much here. This was the old sweep from 7.0 to 7.3 megahertz. Sweep it again now with the new element.
There you go. Now, of course, the lower end, if you take a look, is a 7.4 megahertz. That's okay. That's just fine, because take a look at this. The entire 40 meter band now, look at that. The entire 40 meter band is below 1.5 to 1. The whole way. This is literally looking all the way through. I'll back it out just a little bit. That's the whole band. It's just flatline below 1.5 to 1. Okay? Now, if we wanted to instead, let's say for example, we want to just take a look at the SWR meter, right? This is what the SWR meter does on the Rig Expert zooms. All right, make sure I get the right button. So sweep it, there we are. 7.154, we're at 1.3 to 1. Look at that. And then we go up. We're up into the phone portion now. It's flatlined. It's not moving anywhere. Go up to 7.2 and see where we're at. And
so it stays at 1.3 to 1, which is fantastic. You don't want, I mean, you can get down to 1.08 like it was, and you're not going to really gain anything. You're not going to see a big difference in your transmit nor your receive if you do that. Now, the Zoom 35s, they run about 216 before tax, okay? I love mine. Can you get cheaper ones? Yes, of course you can. But I'll tell you, this thing has lasted. It's been fantastic. It's been in the worst weather you can imagine, and it has just held up and held up and held up. I love this thing. I really do. Highly recommend it. Really, truly do. We're going to get into ESSB today. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Extended single sideband. That is where you broadcast your signal larger than 3 kilohertz. You can go 5, 6, 7, 10, you can go long. But just understand, if you're going to experiment with this, experiment with it. Try not to make it a regular daily thing, because when you use that much bandwidth, you're cutting off frequency bandwidth that others can use. Think about it. If you're typically using a 3 wide bandwidth, right? You're using 3 kilohertz. That's normal, and we all typically use that. But if we decide to go to 5, 6, 7, 10 wide, you go 10 wide, for example, there could be 3 signals within that same bandwidth. So you have to be considerate to other people. If you're going to use this, please make sure you use it in an area that's maybe away from everybody else on the dial, away from everybody else on the ham radio frequencies, so that you can play with it a little bit and have some fun. We'll show you what it sounds like, what it looks like. We'll get into that about 30 minutes into the show, but we've got some very important things to do first, which would be some questions and answers for people who'd like to take the ham radio exam. We're going to start off with technician, so come in at 30 minutes if you'd like to see the ESSB segment. We'll catch up with you then, okay? Here's the first technician question today. Oh, by the way, forgot to do this. It's way too important. If you'd like to get into ham radio, this is way important. Please contact the ARRL folks there in Connecticut. You can find them at www.arrl.org. ARRL stands for the American Radio Relay League. They're a great group of people. Even if you're not in the U.S., they will do their very best to get you connected with a radio club near you so you can find your way onto the ham bands as well. If you like to do text messaging, that's start on the ham bands, by the way. If you want to do television, maybe you want to contact the International Space Station, talk to people off satellites, stuff like that, you can do it. Simple. You got to get on the air, though. And to get licensed, you need to start figuring out how to do that. The ARRL can help you by connecting you with a radio club, wherever you may be, to help you get started on the path to ham radio. Today we're going to talk about the first 2 license exams in the U.S. The first one's called Technician. Now, this one's going to give you very little on the high frequency bands. Only 10 meters is all you're going to get. You can go up to 6 meters as well, and you can work VHF and UHF. So you can work the International Space Station, you can work some satellites, you can practice your CW on the lower bands, which is cool, or you can work 10 meters if it's open. The problem is there's not much room on 10 meters for you to use. That's why we want you to move up to a general class, okay? Let's get you started. Here we go. Mr. Gunther in Germany is back in the house. Hey, Germany. Hello, Gunther in Germany. It's good to see you, man. It's good to see you. All right, let's get to those questions so we can get you going. 30 minutes in, we'll do ESSB stuff. All right, first question. In the U.S., what is connected to the green wire in a 3-wire electrical plug? The green wire is going to be your equipment ground, okay? Please don't confuse equipment ground with your shack ground. They're 2 separate things, They really are. Equipment ground is simply what's inside your walls. Your shack wiring ground should be a ground rod, not the same one used for your home, but a separate one that's as close as it can be to your gear. Then run a ground wire as close as you can to your gear and make sure everything is grounded in the same exact place. Thank you so much for the thumbs up. You guys are very kind. Thank you. Second show. Oof. Can you imagine my wife hearing about me? Yeah. Oh, by the way, put the checking account information on the show.
Go!
Brilliant. All right. Under what circumstances is it safe to climb a tower without a helper or observer? Okay. You're climbing a tower. You built it strong. Got it in that concrete. It's about 3 feet deep. Got some good rebar in there, and you really got yourself a monster. Okay. I'm the Lone Ranger. Don't need no Tano. No. You always need a helper. You do. Electrical companies, by rule, need an observer. Did you know that? They all need an observer. So if you're going to do tower maintenance, whether it be maintaining your tower, changing out a rotator, doing some work on the elements, whatever it might be, tower repair. Maybe you're changing out something on your tower. You're fixing it somehow. You got to get somebody to help you out. So always make sure you have a helper. There are no lone rangers when it comes to towers and people climbing them in ham radio, okay? Make sure you got someone to help you, okay? Stu is back. Listen to KUCW. KUCW. Wonder what KUCW is interested in. Do you think it might be Morse code? Really, Morse code? I'm guessing. Thank you, Stu, for being here from the UK. It's great to see you. All right. Now, we're going to get the next question up here, but I do want to tell you real quick before we go, 30 minutes in, we're going to do a special segment on extended single sideband. Looking forward to that, and we'll talk about it, we'll go into it, and hopefully we'll have a little fun with it as well, okay? Next question. In the United States, come up again. There it was, number 2, but it shows as it's there. I don't know. Next question. Which of the following actions might amateur operators take to prevent exposure to RF, which is radio frequency radiation, in excess of FCC supplied limits? Okay, so you are worried about maybe having a little too much radiation coming out there from the tower or your antenna. Relocating the transmitter doesn't make any sense because the transmitter is not the problem, the tower is. Okay? The tower is what radiates. So relocating your antenna is the only answer. And by the way, increasing your duty cycle only makes things worse, okay?
Go!
Don't do that. Okay, just don't. I know, I'll just turn up the amplifier and make that duty cycle twice as much. That's going to be a great idea there. Don't do it. So just simply relocate your antenna. You'll be fine. Next question. What are the FCC rules regarding the use of a phonetic alphabet for station identification in the amateur radio service? Okay, the phonetic alphabet is simply using letters but saying a word with the letters to make sure people understand who you are. For example, right? An A sounds like a K, right? A C can sound like a B. So we use a phonetic alphabet, all right? A is alpha, B is Bravo, C is Charlie, D is Delta, and so forth. Use that alphabet. You'll learn it over time. This is one of those things as a ham radio operator that when you're new or you're learning, this can be just a mountain of stuff with everything else you're trying to learn. Don't worry about this so much, meaning learn it, okay? It's encouraged. Know that it's encouraged, okay? It's not prohibited. It's not required when contacting foreign stations, and it is required when transmitting emergency messages. No, no, no. It's just encouraged. But you're going to learn it so much more when you're in radio, so don't worry about the rest of it. This is something you don't sweat. Just understand you're going to learn so much more in ham radio once you actually get on the radio. And phonetic alphabet's one of those things. I can tell you for sure because I'm one of those people that did that. Okay, next question. Which of the following VHF, UHF frequency ranges are limited to Morse code only? CW means code word. That would be Morse code. VHF, UHF means very high frequency to ultra high frequency. Ultra high frequency. So VHF is 30 to 300 megahertz. And UHF is 300 megs to 300,000 megs. Okay, 3 million. I think it's 3 million, right? For UHF, yeah. So it's very, very high. The only place where this applies, okay, is a 50.1 megahertz, 50 to 50.1 megs, and 144.0 to 144.1 megahertz. Now, A has two different frequencies on it, okay, and that's why it's the question, right? VHF/UHF. These are the two frequencies. One is on 6 meters. That's VHF. Radios that we sell today, typical HF radios, include 6 meters. So in a way, they're both HF and VHF because they have 6. But UHF radios are not typically in ham radios. There's a few suppliers that make them. Icom makes the 7100. Yaesu makes the 991 Alpha. Okay, Kenwood's made the TS2000. There's a lot of those radios out there that can do all of them. HF, VHF, UHF. But typically, the ham radio rigs are either going to be VHF, UHF, or they're going to be HF, okay? But in this case, it is going to be 6 meters, 50.0 to 50.1 megahertz, and 144.0 to 144.1 megahertz. That, my friends, is on 2 meters, okay? So one's on 6, the other one there was on 2 meters. Next question on the U.S. General Exam is, technician exam. For which license classes are new licensees currently available from the SEC? All right. Right now from the FCC, only 3 classes are available, 3 license classes. Technician, General, and Amateur Extra. Those are the 3, okay? Now, there still are Technician Plus, and there still are advanced licensees out there. Those are folks who've been out there for a while. Their licenses haven't been renewed. They were licensed that way. And once we go around to the point of relicensing, they'll just be reclassified. That's it. Technician, Technician, General, Amateur, Extra. The stuff we're talking about first here is on the first exam, which is Technician. That gets you on the air and ham radio. And by the way, technicians, while having just a small area of HF to work, have a huge area, VHF, UHF, in fact, almost all of it to work. You can work 2 meters and 440. You can run up to 77s. You can contact the International Space Station as a technician. Some pretty cool perks to get you into ham radio. Next question. If a person has an expired FCC amateur license of general class or higher, what is required before they can receive a new license? They have to actually take the test again. Yeah. The applicant must pass the current Element 2 exam. Element 2 would be General. Element 3 is Amateur Extra. Element 1 is the Technician, the one we're talking about right now. Okay. That was me doing the radio voice thing in one channel. Brilliant. We're trying to get it back. We're working on getting the new box so you can actually hear me in the right channel too. That's another story. Which of the following is the FCC term for an unattended digital station that transfers messages to and from the internet? Okay, so you got a station out there that basically just moves things to the internet. And what would this look like? A good example would be the Wires X system on Yaesu, okay? D-Star on Icom, okay? So you've got a digital station that transfers messages to and from the internet. That'd be an automatically controlled digital station. That's really what it is. There are repeaters out there that work D-Star or Fusion and Wires X, and basically you can contact them on 2 meters or 77s. It's typically on 2 meters. And if they do have a connection to the internet, they're not monitored by anybody. They just work. And all of a sudden, you're working a repeater that has the opportunity to let you work somebody like and talk to them in Australia or maybe Europe, someplace in South Africa. Pretty cool stuff. That's some of the stuff that you can do as a technician, by the way. Pretty cool stuff in ham radio. Next question. We're now in the general exam. This is the second highest level. It gives you almost all of the ham bands. Where you lack here is really a lot of the DX portion, where you really can make some long calls, especially on 40 meters. Okay, when you get that Amateur Extra ticket, that gives you that coveted slice of 7.127 to 7.175. It really does, because now all of a sudden, well, technically it's 7.176 because it's the lower sideband. But the point is, so much DX is right there. And in the US, we can't work the folks in Europe and the folks in Asia who are using 7.1 to 7.125. We can't use it because we have to start at 7.128, because the band plan here says 7.125 or higher. Since it's lower sideband, we have to go 7.128 and up to 7.3. That's how it works on 40 meters. So, generals who might want to think about, I'd like to work a lot of DX. Well, a good way to start thinking about it is to pass the general, then get yourself up to the amateur extra. Once you get the extra, now all the frequencies open up and the world opens up too. Getting back to the question though, which the following is an advantage when using single sideband as compared to other analog voice modes on the HF, which again, HF is 3 to 30 megahertz amateur bands, okay? So what's an advantage? You're using just 2.7 to 3 kilohertz wide. That's all you're using. It's not a lot. AM is 6 kilohertz to 10, but you're only using 2.7. The answer is it's less bandwidth used and greater power efficiency. There's a reason for this, okay? When you're using your power and you're only transmitting a small portion of it, you're more effectively transmitting your signal, because more bandwidth takes more power, and it also takes a greater amount of the ability for it to skip a long distance. By making it narrow, your power is used more efficiently, and you can make those calls quite a long ways. This is where back in the 50s, when most people were using AM and sideband was first developed, there was a huge turf war over AM versus sideband. As more transceivers started including sideband in the late 60s, it became the norm. But the AM folks were really mad because they had their transmitters and everything was great. They were transmitting 6 to 10 wide. Okay? Now, join sideband 2.7 to 3, and you can make the call and you can make it farther. That's the advantage of using sideband, and that's why we use it in ham radio today. Still have AM, still have FM, but only on certain parts of the band. Make sure and check your band plan to know exactly where you can transmit both AM and FM. All right, next questions. On the general, when is the amateur station allowed to use any means at its disposal to assist another station in distress? Let's say you're in Texas and you hear somebody in Florida who's in the middle of a terrible hurricane, and they're transmitting out an emergency message. Let's say you're a technician, all right? You hear the signal, okay? Can you do anything? Yes, you can. If you're a licensed ham radio operator, you hear that signal, you can use any frequency, and you can use it at any time during that actual emergency to help that ham out. If they're trying to get out, if there's a disaster, an emergency going on, please don't hesitate to think about it for a moment. Just get on that frequency, make the call to them, make sure they can hear you, and get the word out that they need help. Okay? Next question on the general. What does the Q signal QRN or Quebec Romeo Nancy mean? It means I'm troubled by static. Okay, this got a little brother named QRM. QRM is man-made, means it's made by a radio station somewhere. It's either a carrier or somebody's too close to you on frequency. QRM, as in Mary, means that it's man-made. QRN means it's environmental. So it's static. Simply the conditions of the band might be noisy that day. QRN is normal. It really is. But when you get higher in frequency, say 17 meters up, it's much quieter because there's not as much atmospheric noise when you get that high up on the ham bands. All right? Next question. On the general, what reading on the plate current of a vacuum tube RF power amplifier indicates correct adjustment of the plate tuning control? Now, you'll see this on any tube amplifier. Let's use the Ameritron 811H as an example, okay? When you're tuning it and you're adjusting the plate current on it, as you adjust the plate current, as long as the SWR is good, you don't want a high SWR, so make sure that your antenna is resonant first and foremost, okay? If it's not, use a tuner in line that comes in before the amplifier because you want that amplifier to get a low SWR, okay? When you're tuning it, you're going to see on the plate current meter a pronounced dip. Really well. As you're tuning it, all of a sudden you'll see a dip. It'll be real quick, a quick dip in that meter. Once you've achieved that, you are good to go. Okay? Next question. Which of the following is the best instrument to use when checking the keying waveform of a CW transmitter? All right. Now, in layman's terms, if you want to digitally see what your code word or Morse code signal looks like, what electronic item would you use? That's basically it. If you really are that in depth that you got to see your waveform, you want to see what that doggone short wave, that Morse code character looks like, whether it be a DA or a DIT, you use an oscilloscope. The oscilloscope hooked up will tell you exactly what your waveform looks like from the CW transmitter. Simple. That's all it is. Just an oscilloscope hooked up. It's going to show you your dots, your dits, and there you go. Nothing I would use, but to some people, that's really important, right? They really get into that super tech engineering part of radio that they've got to see every little element. There are folks that do that, and that's really cool. That's a great gift to have. And we honor those folks because they truly do go the extra mile, not only in making sure their stations are working properly, but that they're communicating properly as well. All right, this will be the final one, the final questions on the extra for today. What is a good way to avoid unwanted effects of stray RF? Again, RF is radio frequency, energy in an amateur station. This is a very important question, and I'll tell you why it is. Some people live in apartment buildings or condos, and there's no way for them to put up an outdoor antenna. They can't. There's no room for it. Okay? They don't have the space. So, if they're in that situation, they may need to put an indoor antenna in there. Okay? Whether it be a loop, or maybe it's a wire that they're running up in their attic. They don't have an attic. They might have to use a loop. Seriously. That's some people in ham radio. In order to stay on the air, that's what they have to do. So, what's a good way to avoid unwanted effects of all that radio energy going into your home? That's really what this question means. Connect all equipment grounds together. Okay? So, if you've got a problem with RF grounds, and let me answer that other question too, because I read the question wrong, but I do want to get there. If they're talking about a loop antenna, you got it inside your shack, because this was one of the other questions, and it didn't render, and you're using a loop, you're using some antenna inside your home, maintain that antenna as far away from everybody as possible to avoid unwanted RF exposure. That's what you want to do. If you have to use an indoor antenna, make sure it's as far away from human beings, cats, dogs, goats, sheep, whatever, as you can, because if you don't, you could have a problem. So keep it away from your, just keep it away from your cat, okay? It's important. All right, next, and then this question here. What's a good way to avoid unwanted effects of stray RF energy in an amateur station? Simply connect all your ground rods together. Everything, all your equipment, just ground it together. That's all it means. Stray RF happens a lot when you have ground loops. So if you're using a bar that's not grounded properly, like say for example, you use yourself a ground rod, you take some copper wire, you put it on a big giant loop of copper, and you say, okay, I'm going to ground it here, over here, 5 inches here, 7 inches there, 12 inches there. The problem is you can get ground loops. You really can. So if you connect all your equipment grounds together, it avoids that stray energy of RF. Last question. What frequency range is occupied by a 3 kilohertz lower sideband signal when the displayed carrier frequency is set to 7.178? This is the very bottom of the band for the general portion. That's why it's in the test. The answer is C, 7.175 to 7.178. That means you have to be at 7.178 to legally use the 40 meter band if you're a general. 30 minutes in, doggone it, we made it. There you go. Welcome to the show, everybody. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit today about some extended single sideband. That is when you use more bandwidth than most. What it sounds like, what it looks like. And it's a funny video included as well from a guy who's down in California by way of Montana now, who's got a sense of humor. You'll get a kick out of it. Now, I want to apologize up front for the language you're going to hear because you'll hear it, but it's funny. It is. It's kind of funny in how you do it. We're going to show what it sounds like first on the air, and then we're going to show a station who does it and how he does it. So before we do that, quickly, hellos. Stu Foster in UK. Nice to see you, my friend, as always. Thank you so much. Alpha Echo Tom in the house. That is Alpha Echo Tom 1. Yep, Alpha Echo 1 Tom Papa. Yeah, pretty cool. We'll call him Tom Papa. Alpha 92 Golf Whiskey in Bahrain. Thanks for being here, Tom. I appreciate you more than you know, man. This has been great. Glenn Stevenson checking in from across the ocean in Australia. Glenn, welcome to the show, buddy. Oh, man, it's great to see you, mate. It's always good to see you, mate. When you come to the show, I'm like going, yeah, Glenn's here. This is awesome. Australia's in the house. Okay, let's get to extended single side band. It is really cool to watch, by the way. I think you'll like this. It's pretty cool. This is done on Flex. Now, you can use a multitude of radios to do this. Some of the ACs will go 4K. Now, that's kind of the beginning of ESSB. You really want to go 6 or wider to really get fidelity. That's the truth. So there are Kenwoods that can be modified to do this. The 950 is one of them. You can also use the current Flex radio series to do it. They can be modified, and you can get a bigger transmit bandwidth. That's what you want. A bigger bandwidth transmit pattern so you can go wide. Get your fidelity in there. Brings your bass, your mid, your treble, and you sound wonderful. Here's a great example of what it actually sounds like on a ham radio. Extended single sideband. Enjoy.
All right, Tom, fine business. Sounds like propagation's changing somewhat. Your signal's getting better. So, fine business. Well, that's pretty cool, man. Small world after all. And I know back in the late 70s, the 70s and 80s.
CQ, please call now. Whiskey 5 Hotel.
In 1981. But I was working in radio in 1980, somewhere around 1979, 1980. I started working in radio. Got into engineering about 1983 or so. And now today, I have those two, I'm the chief engineer of those two radio stations plus 5 others in the Terre Haute area. So there's one company that owns all of those, and I work for that company. So it definitely keeps you busy, but... that's
this
pretty
guy's
cool,
running
Tom.
4 wide. Just give you an idea. Here is what 4K wide can bring you in ham radio.
I don't know if you're hearing, Larry, if you're hearing Tom, but you guys say howdy do, and we'll see how well you guys are hearing each other. WD9SCF in the group now. This is W0THI Terre Haute.
And WB9YTG, good afternoon. WD9SCF up here in northern Wisconsin, about 2 hours south of Lake Superior. Ken, this is the original, I'll get back to you just in a second. I just want to hear Ken what he sees on the pan adapter here. This is the original setting before we made any changes. So are you seeing anything at 800 hertz in that fan drop-off when I stop like that, when I stop talking, anything going on like here? That's what they were looking at. Anyway, Tom, good afternoon. We're about, what do we got? 2 hours south of Lake Superior in northern Wisconsin. We have about 5 inches of snow on the ground up here. It's, 37 degrees out there. The wind is kind of dormant, about 3 miles an hour. I'm facing almost due south, so I'm not quite on you with the beam, but I'm facing in that general direction. How copy?
Well, you're doing very well. Nice, clear, pleasant to listen to audio. I'm using a Kenwood.
I hear nothing there, Larry.
7300 with the factory microphone. I think it's called the 18-sound. And I'm using just a vertical antenna, sort of homebrew. It uses the Icom AH14er mainly for, and that seems to tune pretty well on 40 meters. But anyway, I'm
Here's
just
a great
using the
example of how if you're running with a weak signal trying to use ESSB, you lose the fidelity, but you still can be heard at least.
That seems to be the best of all. I was wondering what you thought. Go ahead.
Okay, very good. And once again, Tom, we're doing some audio checks here. I went to the 800-notch filter where I'm using that shelf, the first parametric, that shelving filter at 50 hertz plus
Look
5.
Look at how flat his audio waveform is. It's pretty flat all the way across, honestly. He's a little strong on his bass, but listen. Just look at it.
0.2 of an octave there. And the next one is at 5.19. I think I've sent you this information already. Of the two, which one do you like the best?
Larry, I like that one right there. It's a lot cleaner. The other one sounded really good, but I think this one sounds a lot more open, actually, to tell you the truth. And sorry for the RF. I'm hearing a little RF in my audio chain, and I still haven't got that all worked out yet. But anyway, I like this one better. The 800 notch. I didn't see any 800 in there from the fan and all that stuff. But this setting here, I think, sounds a little more open. I think I would, save it and try it and go back and forth and see who likes what better. But as far as I can...
there you go. That's extended single sideband. It sounds much more full. Okay, you've got full fidelity. Now, when you go to 6 to 10K wide, it gets like almost FM quality because they're using typically some very high-end gear to do it. Now, what I do here on this end is I'm using gear like I used to have at the stations I used to work at, except they're not Collins made, okay? A lot of the gear that we had the stations I had were Collins made. These are Behringer for the most part, but they're still the old analog gear. Here's a funny video. Now, excuse the language. I don't usually condone language on this show because I want kids to watch it. Stu, if Fozzie's watching this, maybe pull him away for a second. This is a good example, though, of how you set up your station to do extended single side, easy for me to say, and make it work, okay? There are a lot of components you need to make this really sound sweet, but once you get it, listen to the difference you get.
I take this natural quality that I have in my voice, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick...
Okay, hold on. Before we let him go on, this is this is November 7 CAL, okay? Now, he's going to make this sound like he's got some southern accent, like he's really from the deep south, okay? No! But he's not, okay? He's really a funny dude. This guy's hilarious. As he puts stuff on the audio chain to make it sound better, you'll hear that accent disappear. That's his comedy bit here. But enjoy. He's very talented. I hope you like it.
Rack in piece by piece, and you get a chance to check it out. All right, so let's go start. The first thing I'm gonna kick in is this 562. You see things brighten up right there. Just sound a little bit better. Just starting to get a little bit of tune to you. You sound just a little bit better each little bit you push. So next, now I'm not gonna do the EQ just yet. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other exciters. Like the Bolari 562. That's a neat little box. It really has a certain kind of feel to it. Things that it does to your audio are just amazing. Right there you can see that there's some things that a fella gets when he does that just, it's kind of beyond parallel. That 562 is a magical box. So, okay, so after that, I'm going to go ahead and kick in the... This is the EX3200, and what this does is it just kind of touches you up just a little bit. It makes you sound a little bit better. It does a lot of the bottom end harmonics and stuff like that. And like that Kunas down there in Louisiana, he's got it figured out. He's got some mods for it that I ain't got done yet, but anyway, it sounds good, so I'm going to just kind of keep going. I need some control right now because everything's a little bit just over the top. So I'm going to put in the triple C, and right now the only thing I haven't gotten in is the EQ. So let's throw a little EQ in there, see what happens. Okay, so now I need gains. All right, okay, let's get our gains back, and now you can really tell that the processing that takes place here at November 7 Charlie Alpha Lima is beyond parallel. There's just no way that you can, there's no way you can sound this good unless you've got the pipes to start. For one, you've got to have a halfway decent voice. Secondly, you have to have good processing. You can't do it all at once. You got to take a little bit at a time. And like I said, you go from the microphone and you go all through the preamp, the sonic tube exciter, the equalizer. Then you go through some compression and little harmonics with the EX3200. Oh, and let's throw one more thing in. The effects that give you some roominess, that open things up, and really allow you to have a certain polish to your sound. So, like I said, when you have a good quality voice and then you want to add things to your processing, you can bring your Voodoo audio quality to a whole new level. I hope you enjoy this demonstration. This is November 7, Charlie Alpha Lima.
That's Craig. I'll put his video in the description. It's worth a watch, okay? Now, I'm not condoning some of the language he says. That I don't. But I will tell you, he's a pretty funny dude. He really is. He'll make you laugh. He's got a great sense of humor. And he does quite a bit of ESSB stuff. He's great at it. He really is. Now, you might have noticed a little difference in the sound here. Have you noticed a little bit of difference? I did this purposely on this show. Let me show you what it sounded like when we started. This will give you a good idea. We started here. Hear the background noise? I sound pretty much the same, right? But you hear the hiss in the background. Now watch. Gone. Completely. The way you do that is a compressor. A compressor simply helps to make you sound tighter, but it also has a noise gate on it. The noise gate will help to eliminate background effect noise, so it only will pick up what the microphone hears. Now, if I were to speak farther away from the mic, it would have to be a certain distance, but you wouldn't hear me very well. Let me show you what I mean by that. If I were to talk way back here, try and talk to you, see how it's fading out? You see how it's cutting out like now? Everything's all cutting out. Right? You're not hearing every word. But as I come back in, you hear me. That's the way a noise gate works on a compressor. Those are things that will work on your ham radio. They will. You don't have to buy a whole bunch of gear to do that. Go to your nearest Guitar Center, Music Around, wherever it may be. You can buy a lot of stuff used. It's not that expensive. You don't need things like a preamp, stuff like that. But if you want to run high-quality audio, you do. You really will. You'll need to run a preamp. You're going to need probably a mic exciter. You're going to need a compressor. And it doesn't hurt to have an EQ. It doesn't. You run it through your gear. You just plug it right in. It goes from your XLR straight to your mic. You can get a high connecting cable to do that. It's pretty easy. And it's not that expensive if you buy stuff used, okay? And most places will have a guarantee. So if it doesn't work, you bring it back, you get your money back, and you're happy. You just search for another one. Like I'm doing right now for this doggone little red box that I can't get anywhere because it keeps coming back and they say it was stolen at the store. No! Sorry. I'm better now. No, really, that's the whole reason why you're only hearing me in the left channel. Here I am trying to do a show on audio quality, and you're just hearing my voice in the left channel. How preposterous is that? Anyway, it's nice to see you. Let's take a look at comments real quick, and we're going to go quickly as well to the rig. This is the last day, by the way, the very last day. I'm kind of sad. This is the last day of the Yaesu FTDX10 here in the shack. It has been sold, and honestly, to be quite blunt, I'm bummed. I am, because I love this rig. I really do. It's been a great transceiver, but I have the 101D. And thinking with my brain, okay, one thing I don't have here, that's so important to me that I want to be transparent on every show, to not be so brand loyal, okay? Is to not be brand loyal myself. Now, granted, I have a few Yaesus here, and it's because, honestly, this radio here was my very favorite. Truly was. That was it. Now, If I were to be totally honest with you, I'd tell you that an Icom 7600 would be in here too. Now, that might happen someday. That's the radio I fell in love with when I was taking my ham exams, was the 7600. I loved that radio, truly did. So there might be a day where the 7300 goes away and it goes away for a 7600. That would give me the radio I always wanted when I was studying, okay? But the radio missing is a Kenwood. I love Kenwood quality. They have the best sound there is. If you've seen a Kenwood box, for example, 890s, 990s, even the 590 SG, if you're used to seeing a ham radio that, may have some sort of, let's say, when you look at the case, you see a beautiful front case to it, right? Usually it's a very, very nice front case. For example, take a look at this. Here's a couple radios. Let me move the camera down. Here's a couple transceivers right there, okay? On the left is the Icom 7300. On the right is the Yaesu FTDX10, all right? Now, both of these look fantastic from the front, but when you go to the back, they've got like a sheet metal back that you have all the, connectors to, it's different. If you've never seen a Kenwood rig, this will make zero sense to you, like in no sense whatsoever, because none of it will make any sense because, you're used to seeing a transceiver the way that you see transceivers, which is, looks like this in front, looks silver in the back, connectors are right back there. Kenwood is so different with how they do transceivers. They're so different. Their cases are one piece, basically. Now, they come apart like regular radios do, but the back is finished like the front. That's true. On Kenwoods, they just finish them off. The quality, the build quality really shows on Kenwood. They do. It shows phenomenally on Kenwood rigs. So, how can I tell people, don't be so brand loyal when I don't have a Kenwood? That was why I'm getting one. That's why the FTDX10 is going away, and my gate's a little high. So, gate's a little lower now. There you go. But my point is, it's going to be hard to let go of this. I mean, I'm going to miss this transceiver because it's a great rig. I've recommended the FTDX10 highly to people, and I still do. My hope is to get one again someday. I would love to do that, but I'm missing a Kenny, and I want to get it here. Okay, so I'm not sure if it's going to be the 890 or the 590, but there's a question coming up on Sunday's show on Ham Talk Live that's going to be a real conundrum, because it's a conundrum that I face right now. If you want to get a quick answer in before we do the show on Sunday, now's your chance, because I have this decision right now, okay? If you have $3,000, $3,000, do you go out and buy that 890 that you've been wanting for 3 years? Or do you go out and buy the 590 SG and buy a really good antenna? I mean, a real good one. That's the conundrum I'm in. I've got a great one back there now with the DX Commander all bent vertical. Doesn't mean that I don't have one, but I'd like to get another one because I'm a ham radio operator. I do stupid things like that. So, one's not enough, right? I just rebuilt 40 meters. I don't want just one. So a second one, maybe it would be something like a Gap Titan. Could be replacing with the AV680 vertical. Loved that one. Truly did. Could be a step by our big IR vertical. Those are expensive, about $1,800, but they're really well built, and man, do they deliver the gain. So those are some great examples of verticals that can cost a lot of money, but investing in the antenna and the rig. See, that's my conundrum. Do you buy the 890 and finally get that rig and go, woohoo, I finally got myself that camera, I'm so happy. The 890's coming, can't believe it, I can't wait. Or get the 590 SG, which is not a consolation prize, but show up with a great antenna as well. Yep, that's the question for Sunday. So think about that now. If you got any feedback, go ahead and just let me know. Appreciate that. Also, we got from Russia, our friend is back. This is so wonderful. Oh my gosh. Nicola, thanks for coming, man. It's great to see you. Nice to see you. Andre, I thought your name was Nicola. You said Nicola before, man. I'm sorry. I had you as Nicola before, so bear with me, okay? Because I do keep track. I do. Now, Andre, Nice to see you from Henry Radio all the way in Russia. It's a true honor to have you back. Thank you so much. Okay, so he said, Andre wrote me from Henry Radio, there are no such transceivers. Elecraft K4 of them are not on sale. It is not known when they will be. Oh, okay. I understand your question. Thank you. Thanks for writing that. I know this because I bought one. Okay, I had to pull out because I wasn't getting it. That was not Elecraft's fault. Andre, or it might be Nicholas still. I'm sorry. I don't want to call you by the wrong name. I'm trying to be respectful. Elecraft is shipping out the K4s. They're very slowly shipping out. This isn't Elecraft's fault. This is the pandemic. That's exactly what this is. Most of their components, well, not most, but a lot of them come from the Silicon Valley of California, where coronavirus restrictions are so tight that factories are working short shifts. They can't get the semiconductor parts out very quickly. Here, Elecraft is in Watsonville trying to build the rigs, but they can't get the parts. They can't get the parts. They can't send the radios out to the people that bought them. It's not their fault. They're just dealing with the circumstances that they're dealt with. There are K4s, and they are going out. They're just slowly getting out right now because California is slowly now opening up. They were closed forever, really. So, yeah, it's not Elecraft's fault. They are there. Chuck McDermott, by the way, Larry, do they allow loud laughing in Hawaii or just aloha?
No!
Chuck, don't give up your day job, man. That's awesome. For those of you who don't get the joke, it's very good. It's a very good joke. By the way, Larry, do they allow loud laughing in Hawaii or just aloha? Chuck, that's awesome. That really is. Steve in the UK. Hi, Larry. Been just busy this week connecting my SDR Uno to my Icom 756 Pro 3. By the way, one of my favorite transceivers ever. Oh, Steve, seriously, I didn't get the 7600. I still haven't got it, but I had a Pro 3 and I loved it. Now, Steve's thing, he's hooking up his SDR Uno, which technically is a SDR play. Okay, he's using Uno software. So he's hooking up through OmniRig and the SDR console, and the difference it's made has been, and the difference it's made mate. That's good. Absolutely. He have a great rig there in the 756 Pro 3. Steve, that is such a great transceiver, man. I love that transceiver. By the way, followed up by the 7600, followed up by the 7300. True story. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, the 756 Pro 3 was one of the better selling Icom radios in history until the 7300 came along. It's fantastic. 7600 is still one I'd love to have. If I find one that I could buy, okay, seriously, this is no lie. Because, okay, what I did, this is a great story. You'll love it. Okay, so what I did, when I studied for the ham radio exam, I would study really hard. I was like over 160 hours. Anyway, I would work like a couple of hours at a time, cramming and cramming and cramming. And I would have to take breaks because you can only sit there and look at your phone so long and take questions and try and take tests and then take more questions because that's how the software worked, right? So after a couple of hours, my mind was exploding. And so I would go and watch a YouTube video on different rigs. Now, I learned about a lot of them, learned about like the TS2000, remember learning about the 756 Pro 3 and Pro 2. Let me see, the Yaesu FTDX 5000, 2000, 1000, remember those? Elecraft K3. Anyway, looked at all of them, loved them. But I would take breaks watching YouTube videos on rigs. Mine was the 7600. So genius me goes in, popping the mic filter, into HRO saying, hello there, I'd like I'm a brand new licensee, and I'd like to go get myself that 7600 brand new right now. Yep, how are you? I'm Larry, nice to meet you. How are you? And I'm smiling like that. And the guy looks at me like I'm an idiot. And he's like, man, they stopped making the 7600 like, 2 years ago.
No!
Great. I kind of, immediately went from this to, yeah, no joke. So the 7600 is what I'd love to have. But that's my conundrum. 50, 590 SG and a killer antenna, or the 890 and getting the cherry on top. Love to have the 890. I love that transceiver. There's something about it that just screams at me. And I'd probably end up getting it. I'll have it for like 2 months and say, it's okay. Or I'd keep it and say, gosh darn it, why did I wait so long? It's kind of one of those if or things. You don't know. But everything I've read about it, and it's not much YouTube stuff on it. That's one thing I've noticed. Not a ton of YouTube stuff on the 890. That's really, I don't know, that really talks enough about it. There's some stuff that shows you, some QSOs, stuff like that, but not a lot of good content. And I'm like, man, we could do so much with the 890. That'd be fun because it deserves more credit. It's a great transceiver. The last one, by the way, the last big one that Kenwood came out with was the 890. All right, John is here. How are you? He says, yep, I've got $2,500 to spend on my first HF rig, FTDX10, 705 by Icom, or FTDX 3000, or 73 from Las Vegas, Nevada. John, it's nice to see you. Thanks for coming. First of all, I love the 3000. The 3000 got a soft spot in my heart. I bought 2 of them brand new, 1 used, so I've had 3. That radio is real special. If you can still find it, because they discontinued it a couple months ago, if you can still find it, it's a good buy. It really is. But knowing what I know about the radios you're mentioning here, if you want to run low power, if your whole idea is QRP, let's put John's point up here again. By the way, he's in Las Vegas, Nevada. Good friend of mine at radio. He's in Las Vegas, Chet Buchanan on KLUC. Chet and I worked together a long time. He's a good friend. Your 705 is a low power. That's going to be your QRP rig. So it's going to run 5 watts to 10 watts. The rest of them are going to run 100 watts on HF, which is great. Okay. It really depends on what you want to do. If you want to work HF and want to work some DX, possibly to, Australia, talk to Glenn in Australia, maybe talk to Tom in Bahrain. You could talk to Ron, Victor Alpha 3 Fox Union Charlie. Talk to Gunter, DK50NV. Some great people here on the channel. You need a good HF rig at 100 watts. You do. So that really, with your situation, puts you with 2 transceivers. Either the 3000 or the FTDX10. If I was in that choice, and you want my opinion, I'd buy the 10. I would. It's that good. I'm already regretting selling this transceiver right now. I mean, like big time regretting. I am. But I do know that they're going to be making them for a long time. And I also know that the prices are going to come down. They are. So that's something that, keep in your back pocket. You know it. Maybe try the 3000 now while you can still buy one new. If you can locate one, I don't know that you can. That might not be able to be located. The FTDX10 is also hard to find right now. Most places are sold out with orders coming and new shipments coming in here in a few weeks. Tough conundrum. But don't forget the antenna. Yeah, because it doesn't matter what you get. Unless you've got a good antenna, it's not going to be good. Yeah. Donald Bush. Antennas. I should have like Nero. Antennas. Great comment. The 590s, no slouch, Larry. Antennas. Signal. Your signal radiates. Antennas. It does. It does. Yeah. I'm blessed to have a good antenna here. And it's not that I don't. It doesn't mean I don't. I do love the 590 SG. I had one. I did. I had a 590 SG. I hoped to get an anniversary, but I couldn't get one, couldn't find one. But anyway, 590 SG is such a great transceiver. Oh my gosh. Beautiful. And what I love about it, and here's the reason I want to do the show with it. Here's why I want to hear in the shack. Because so many people today are used to working radios with their eyes. That's the truth. See the signal? Does it show up here? Oh, wait. Yes. It's right there. Right? People work with their eyes. But see, the thing is that you miss so many signals because you're not using your ears. There's so much DX that you don't even see on a waterfall because it's too weak to come in. You've got to learn to use your ears and use filtering and know how to use it together. Since this channel is really devoted to helping people get on the air and those on the air be more effective, I really want a radio without a pan adapter screen. And Tom in Bahrain mentioned just using the 5000, which I could do, okay? I could simply pull off the pan adapter screen up top and just use the rig and do the same thing. But I don't get a Kenwood that way. And I want the Kenwood because I like Kenwood so much. And I want to do this too. I want to have like the 101, the 7300, and whatever Kenwood up here and let you hear it through the microphone. You will hear the difference. If you close your eyes, you'll hear the difference and know that the Kenwood sounds better. You will. They just sound better. It's like they're the one ham radio company that's out there that figured we're going to build it with quality, the knobs are going to be tight, everything's going to be in tolerance, and it's going to sound good. That's Kenwood. That's truly what it is. Yeah. Donald, bless your heart. Well, with the K4, Larry, my best. I know it is, buddy. I know. I love the K4. I reached out to Eric a couple days ago. I did. I asked Eric Schwartz from Ellicraft. I said, Eric, tell me about the K4. Where are we looking at now for delivery? Because he knows I was on I paid for it. I was waiting for it. I had to pull out because we weren't getting any rigs, right? They weren't shipping. And I never heard back from him. I don't know. He's busy. I get it. But just trying to buy a rig from you, man. Just saying. Sorry. Nothing bad there. Just, reach out to somebody and they don't get back to you after a few days. You kind of say, oh, okay. Steve Austin from UK. Yes, the 7600 is my favorite. Oh, as well, mate. Yes, I love my 756. Always wanted one, and now I have one. Want a 7600 now, as we both do. How about that? That's funny. That's funny. True. Rod, Whiskey 3, Mike Papa Golf. I thought my 590 had the best audio until I got my 890. What beautiful audio. I never looked back. Add the external speaker, and wow, there you go. Good stuff, Rod. Thank you. Yeah. That's why I'm not yet letting go of the 890. Again, good, great antenna plus, the 590, or keep the antennas that I have and get the 590 and have the cherry on top. There you go. Martin in the Netherlands still loves his Alinco DX77. Bless your heart. Martin, I have a rig like that here. I do. I have a rig just like that as to you. And that's this one, the FTDX 5000. That's a rig when my pulse stops and they say, yep, he's gone, that'll still be here. By the grace of God, that'll still be here. Unless my brother really needs a lot of money to help him with something, or my wife does or something, that's the last one to ever go. Because I love that radio. I waited forever to get it. So that's my favorite. That'd be my Alinco 77. Let's take a quick look on the rig, try and give one more shot on the FTDX 10. See if we can make one more call on it before we put it in the box. 17 meters will be at barefoot. Make sure we're barefoot first. Hold on. Nope, that's not barefoot enough. That's almost QRP, see? We're 42 watts. We're going to bring it up. There we go. Okay, so we're using the DX Commander All Band Vertical. It is running right now at about 1.3 to 1 at this frequency. Let's see. Oh, no, wait. You know what we're doing? We're doing something different. There won't be a show on Saturday. I get to see my nephews finally. I'm so excited to see my great nephews. I mean, to me, this is a big deal, okay? My great nephews are like, little ones, and they're so good at science. So I'm going to bring the 7300 with me along with the Chameleon Impasse 2.0 Vertical, and we're going to make some calls from their house. And I'm so excited to show them ham radio. So that's going to be the Saturday. And I can't wait to do it because they're really good at science and they love radio stuff. They keep asking me, Uncle Larry, when are you going to come with that crystal radio kit? And I'm working on that. But the problem is it's kind of for kids a little bit older, but I think they're smart enough they can do it. Yeah, I think so. 9 and 6. Yeah, I think so. All right, let's take a look on the band, see if we make a call. Got somebody down here. Gosh, I'm going to miss this thing. Tell you what, why don't we just blow our own smoke? We'll see if we can maybe make a call to somebody, because, you know, it's the last time with this rig. It'd be nice to make one our own. Let's try it. It's the hardest thing to do with a show running this long, but let's give it a shot. Is this frequency available? This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. I can always tell when we're real resonant because you get the feedback into the gear. I'm going to change the meter, so it's going to show us SWR. And this will, you'll see how low the SWR now is on this. Now this is using the Chameleon MPass 2.0 vertical, an antenna that runs about $550, but goes up in about 6 minutes, literally, and back in the backpack in 6 minutes. It's easy to deploy, has one ground radio, works like a dream. It's only 22 feet long, but it collapses. It's beautiful for parks on the air, islands on the air, summits on the air, whatever you want to do, vertical, portable antenna work for. This is great for 20 meters up to 6. Checking frequency availability. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. See how the SWR barely moved? It just tickled. It's that good on 17. So if you're looking for a portable antenna that will go up in like no time, go to like remote work. Oh my gosh, this is a great one. Let's make some calls. Hopefully. We'll see if it works. CQ. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. Kilo 7 Hotel November. Calling CQ. CQ on 17 meters from the Pacific Northwest of Oregon and streaming on YouTube. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. Kilowatt 7 Hotel November. Calling CQ and listening. Always harder to make a CQ call than it is to, get into someone else's QSO. Let's try again. CQ on 17. This is Kilowatt 7 Hotel November. Kilo 7 Hotel November calling CQ. CQ 17 meters from the Pacific Northwest of Oregon. And calling to the world on YouTube. This is Kilowatt 7 Hotel November. Kilo 7 Hotel November. Calling CQ on 17 meters and standing by. Okay, let's go to this call right here then. Just for the sake of time, we'll go over here, okay?
Okay. I'm running about 500, so I guess it's helping a little in your direction, maybe. But a little bit of QSB, so we'll see how it goes. I'm getting about 75% at the moment. I've got the antenna on you there. I guess you're not too far from the Bay Area. Go ahead.
Kilo 7 Hotel November for a quick one. I think you heard us. Let's take a listen.
Yeah, Roger. I've got your QRZ page. I guess I'm looking at your antenna here. Is it, it might say in the text, but what is it? Go ahead.
Maybe not.
Yeah, okay. Very good. I'm familiar with it. I mean, I've seen them before.
I mean, doesn't this radio sound good? I mean, for what it is, this is a smaller radio. It will come down in price. Trust me. You're going to see this down in the 1,500 range. It's going to come down. Give it a chance to. Let's try one more time with this QSO. If it doesn't work, we'll go to 20 meters and we'll try a call there. And hopefully we'll make a call to somebody and we'll close the show. If not, we could sure go to 80, that's for sure.
And I also just noticed
I should say 40, sorry.
I'm sorry, HXL1, which is something I haven't looked at in many years, but I always thought I wanted one of those to go with my HQ 180 and my SP 600. Go ahead.
Kilo 7 Hotel November. Whiskey 6 JIM. Hello, Larry. Will you try a flex radio for us down the road? Jim, I would absolutely love to. I really would. Yep, I would. Been in touch with Flex this week, and bless their hearts. JP from the
very good. Well, the band is just open enough to get about 75-80% copy on you there, Tim. I'm sure more power would make the difference, but we're getting most of you now, so appreciate the call, and congrats on the DX10. I know those things are brand new and not too many out there yet, but look like a real nice radio there. 7.3, and by the way, I'm running the original 1000 MP, the 1000 MP from the early 90s, and the antenna is a Force 12 C4 with 8 elements altogether, but basically 2 elements on this band. Sort of. It's an interesting antenna. So 7.3, and back to you for any final. W6 RMC K5XL.
Okay, we'll wait for them to say goodbye and hopefully say hello.
Okay, Tim. Yeah, and that's kind of the way this one works. It's got 2 elements. 2 elements on 10, 15.
Here's bandwidth shift and how much it makes a difference.
I'll get it right. 3 on 10 and 2 on 15 and 2 on 20.
Hear that?
But it covers 17 and 12 through some sort of spacing. And my experience on this band is actually pretty good. It's I think it's about 3 dB over a dipole. And does have front to back, maybe about 5 or 6 dB front to back, and of course good side rejection. So a lot better than a dipole, that's for sure. And I've been real pleased with it. 73. Thanks again for the call. W6 RMC K5XL. Bye bye.
K5XL K7HN.
K7HN. This is K5XL. Good afternoon. The name is John. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, John. Name is Larry. Lima Alpha, Romeo Yankee, here in Independence, Oregon for my QTH. Doing a live YouTube channel now that helps to teach ham radio to folks, and we've featured you on the show right now. What's your QTH, John?
Yeah, okay, Larry. K7HN, K5XL. The location here is Arlington, Texas, and Arlington is near Fort Worth and not too far from Dallas, if you know the area. And we're running about 500 watts into a Force 12 C4 up about 50 feet. The amplifier is a little solid-state amp that's made by Metron from way back in the past. So I'll copy up there. You're just above the noise here. I'm going to give you a 5 by 5 on peaks. K7HN, K5XL.
K5XL, K7HN, thank you so much. Appreciate the signal report. You're a 5.9 here on peaks, 5.7 to 5.8, just typical right there, level right there, but 5.9 on peaks, great signal, and a great set of modulation. Yeah, you can hear it's the old 1000. Just really has that sweet sound to it. Running a Yaesu FTDX10 here. This is final QSO with it, but using a compromise antenna for the most part, using just a chameleon MPass 2.0 vertical that goes up in literally about 5 or 6 minutes, 21 feet or 22 feet high. Grateful to make the QSO this far. Thank you so much. John, you're live right now on YouTube on Ham Radio Live that we talk to new folks that like to get in the hobby. Is there anything you'd like to say to encourage people about getting into ham radio? Over?
Yeah, okay, Larry. Well, the thing that comes to my mind is how many people you run into that have common interests, and you meet so many people, and you learn so much from everybody. So it's a great hobby, and of course it's a good hobby if the weather's bad. Enjoy traveling around the world from in your favorite room, wherever you set up the radio. And it's certainly a hobby that I've participated in since 1964. Back to you, Larry.
QSL, John. Yeah, I was on the shortwave side for many years. I just couldn't do code. That left me out of it. So I'm grateful to finally be a part of everything. It took a while, that's for sure. John, I'm going to send you a 73 and a big thank you from Oregon for picking up the call. We just want to make sure we'd make a good one here with this antenna, and you've just come in brilliantly. So thank you for the nice QSO. I'll give you 73 from Oregon. Kilo 5, X-Ray Lima. This is Kilo 7, Hotel November. God bless you, John. Take care and stay safe, my friend.
Okay, Larry. Yeah, very good. Thanks for the contact. You peaked about a 5.7, but there is a lot of QSB. You do drop down into the noise a little bit here and there, so maybe 70% copy. And the vertical is doing a good job under the circumstances. And the brand new, I guess, DX10 sounds like a real nice radio. So many beautiful, nice radios out there to choose from.
No kidding.
Anyway, Larry, have a good afternoon and evening there in Oregon. K7HN, K5XL.
Yes, K5XL. John, I'm going to send you a copy of the show so you have a copy of the QSO. And I'll do it by private message there on your QRZ page. 73 from Oregon, K5XL, K7HN. God bless you, John. Take care.
Okay, Larry, that'd be great. Look forward to listening to it. K7HN, K5XL. Bye-bye.
That's great. That's just great, huh? That's just great. Final QSO with the FTDX10 here. Hopefully I have another one. I would like to. That's one I definitely want to replace. No doubt. Well, that's the show today. Thanks a lot for coming. Learned about ESSB, did some technician, some general. We did a QSO on 17 using the Chameleon MPass 2.0, an antenna that goes up in literally 5 or 6 minutes. Fits in a great backpack. Carry it with you on the road. It doesn't weigh that much. And the nice thing is the mill whips are easy to connect and disconnect. You're literally up and running in literally 5 minutes with this antenna. And that QSO, by the way, was about 2,000 miles. Not too shabby. Thanks for watching Ham Radio Live. My name's Larry. My call sign's Kilo 7 Hotel November. Want to remind you again, please, if you have any questions regarding ham radio, please contact the American Radio Relay League. They're there to help you. They're out of Connecticut. I'll put their link in the description below. Just click the link, contact them, tell them you'd love to get into ham radio because we need you here. We really do. Thanks for watching, everybody. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. From Oregon, my name's Larry, and my call sign is Kilo 7 Hotel November. It has been my honor and privilege to do the show and take time with you today. Goodbye, everybody.
You have been viewing WSBK-TV in Boston. WSBK-TV is owned and operated by New Boston Television Incorporated, a wholly owned subsidiary of the Swr Broadcasting Company, and operates on UHF Channel 38, as authorized by the Federal Communications Commission. WSBK-TV studios and offices are at 83 Leo Birmingham Parkway, and transmitter and antenna are located at 140 Cabot Street, Needham, Massachusetts. WSBK-TV now ends its broadcast day. And now, our national anthem.